All right, we are starting this bad boy up. Good stuff, good stuff. Wait for this thing to finish loading and we'll get going. All right, what is happening? Woof. Kicking things around over here, getting aggressive. We're starting the Respectfully Selfish podcast going live videos now, whether it be live on Facebook, Instagram, or if I'm just going to start recording them and putting them on my new YouTube channel. Insert plug here. Oh, wait, I'm not doing any editing to this because it's live. So, but no, I did start a new YouTube channel and it's actually just been filming myself. I wish I would have showed you the amount of food I was eating to get to the level I was to now do my incarcerated workouts, as I like to call them. But no, this is a time for change, reflection, and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to practice as many good habits as I can so I can continue to move forward with them. And funny enough, that's going to be the topic of this podcast is routines and schedules. But as you've all come to love and learn my new podcast intro, I like to start things off with saying thank you first off. If you are tuning in, whether it be live or if you're tuning in at a later time, because I'll be posting this on my page as well. I just want to thank you for stopping by and, not only helping me get my message out, but also helping yourself. You have to thank yourself throughout this entire process because especially in a time of quarantine and isolation and uncertainty, you're not getting a lot of thanks from other people. You're getting a lot of, questions and doubts, whether it be for your career or just on a global stage of we don't know what's happening. So take the time out of the day to self-reflect, thank yourself, thank those around you, and really make it a conscious effort to be your biggest fan at this point in time. So thank you. Second, I always like to say I am not a counselor or a therapist, licensed or certified, but I do life coaching. I have a psychology background, especially a focus in behavioral psychology, which, believe it or not, plays a huge factor into what I do. So, guys, another pitch here, if you guys want to get involved in that, let me know. I will be happy to set a time to talk with you. Hashtag gratitude. Amen. What's up, Steve? Thanks for joining me today, bud. Getting into this week's podcast, like I said, routine and schedule. It all starts with this. Well, it's not that specifically. This specifically. This is my 2020 planner. And my 2020 planner, one might say, has been a complete waste of time up to this point in the year. But that's where I think a lot of people are getting kind of mixed up here. I think people are getting the idea that 2020 is over, that 2020 just, throw it by the wayside because it's nothing anymore. I have to respectfully selfish, disagree. I think this is the moment in time where you either going to make it or you're just going to literally fall flat on your face because you didn't want to take the time to prep and you wanted to give in to everybody else's idea of what 2020 is going to become. I don't see it that way. I see this. Why am I getting notifications that I'm going live? I understand. Routines and schedule has been the number one thing to set me up for success moving forward, because I won't lie to you, that first week, I was in a weird place. Anybody who knows me knows that I suffer through anxiety and depression. Also, side note, if you hear landscapers, it's because they decided at this point during the day they were going to weed whack right outside my window. So we're going to fight through that. But like I was saying, routine and schedule has been my lifesaver up to this point, because during that first week, I would wake up. Exactly. I wouldn't know what to do. I would be like, okay, I guess I'll go play some video games, which is fine. But I had nothing else on my docket for the rest of the day because my business isn't running because of this quarantine that Florida finally put in place. Everyone canceled their events. We were having so much momentum moving forward. And then our next 3 months just got wiped out completely, which at first, I won't lie, that first week I was kind of in my feelings about it. I was really upset about it because you saw all the posts I was trying to make. And then we may have just been, a legit business, as far as when I say legit, like we were we got our tax ID number and stuff like that in November, but we started building that truck in June of last year. And we've been promoting it since. So we finally were catching momentum, and all of a sudden it got wiped out. It could have derailed me, it could have derailed my partner, but we have other things going on too, and so that's why I'm trying to focus. So what it brings me to is my three key staples for me that keep me moving forward. And number one, it's making that schedule. And it's not just the making the schedule that's been helping me, it's dedicating that time to myself. I'm not making a schedule on anybody else's time for what anybody else might be doing. I'm making that schedule for me. So it's not just, for a business, it's not just for, meetings. It's I literally write down at 8:30, wake up. By 8:30, I'm working out. At latest 8:45. Do that for about a half hour, get a 20 to 30 minute good workout in. And then from there, I move on to, I can just read you for today. 8:30, wake up, go into workout. And then 9:45 to 10:15, I do meditation or reflection. A lot of people think meditation is not for everybody, and that's okay. It has taken me a while to get even comfortable with the idea of meditation because shutting this thing off can be troublesome at times. So that's what meditation's for. So with more practice and stuff, I got a lot better at it. But reflection's big on that too, because after I'm done, I use the Headspace app for meditating. So I only meditate for about 5 minutes, maybe a couple times a day. If not a couple times, at least once. And then right after that, I kind of go into self-reflection, kind of what direction do I want to be moving? Where do I see myself moving forward? That does not mean I have every step laid out saying, okay, I want to be here in 2 years. No, I have a feeling and a direction that I just want to move towards. And that's what I focus on. And then anything that is not in that realm, I block out. Now, does that last all day? No, not all the time. But at least for that moment of clarity, I can always look back on that and say, that's where, in my clearest of thinking during that day, is where I want it to go. So that is key step number one for me, is dedicate time for myself to make a schedule, whether it be for the next day or for the week. Personally, for me, I like to do it the night before so I can kind of give myself a vision of what I have to expect for the next day. Let's jump to the comments here. Steve, that's how I feel right now. That's not that I'm not working. My side business keeps me busy, but I've already pressure washed my sidewalks, running out of things to do. And I've known Steve for, oh my gosh, whenever I got into Merck, I feel like I've known you my entire life because our parents worked together. But Steve literally started his own side business years ago, saving people crazy amounts of money on energy and then growing from there. So what he's doing now is relying on that. Well, he's been prepping for this moment, whether he knew it or not, for years now. Probably, I think, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think it's been like 3 or 4 years, maybe 5. But all of that stuff that we kind of put off thinking, oh, we'll get to it eventually. Well, this is the time that you can really double down. If you guys have any questions about that, you guys live in states like that are able to help people save on energy. Unfortunately, I cannot because I'm in Florida. Reach out to Steve because he will be more than happy to help you with anything that you guys got going on. And like I said, he's been doing very well for himself. 3 years. He's been doing very well for himself because of that time and effort he put in. It wasn't easy. He grinded for 3 years now, and he's seeing the payoff. So, dude, I always tell you this, man. You have literally been like a motivating factor for me. So it means a whole bunch that you are tuning into my podcast here, but also I want to be able to help anybody out. So guys, jump on Steve Guzman's boat if you are looking for a little bit of financial freedom. Number 2 on my 3 key staples for me is exercise/movement. And that's big for me to say exercise/movement because I'm in the middle of doing a self-proclaimed 30-day, 30 home workouts for this month. I started a couple days at the end of March. So we're going to go through hopefully all of April. Well, when I say hopefully, we are going through all of April. That's big for me because if I'm not moving or if I'm not exercising, my brain's moving and my body's not. So it gives my brain the power to go wherever it wants. And like I said, I suffer through depression and anxiety. If any of you go through that as well, you understand that there's no walls at which your thoughts stop. They kind of hit something, then all of a sudden the next 45 possibilities from that blossom, and then it keeps funneling out like that. It's funny watching myself do that. That's what you guys have to realize is when your body's moving, your brain gets an opportunity to finally slow down and get in tune with your body. So whether it's going for a walk with husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, or just yourself, I love taking walks by myself. I love doing things by myself. Um, but that is something I recommend is exercise or movement, because if you can't shut your brain off, your body's going to at least try to help slow it down. Remind me tomorrow. Okay, number 3, I said meditate or reflect, and that is big for me because it gives me a moment to check in with myself. In my coaching calls with my clients, I don't like calling them clients. I like to call them teammates because, or players, because I'm trying to help people, you know, figure their way through life a little bit here. Is what I say to people is take at least 3 times a day to stop and check in with yourself, whether that be meditate, or when we first start, I say breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Take a moment before or after each meal and check in with yourself. Almost saying like, okay, I'm in the kitchen, I'm drinking my coffee, I'm eating my breakfast, I'm doing these things, and this is how I feel. Because and you have to do this judgment free, because if you sit there and almost talk to yourself like you're trying to impress another human, it ain't gonna work. So you have to be honest. Like you wake up, you feel like shit. You woke up literally feeling like a bag of shit. That's okay. Be honest with yourself, because at lunch, you're going to compare your morning to now. Like, okay, well, that's how I felt. Why did I feel like that? At lunch, maybe you're feeling better. Maybe you got a little bit of momentum moving through the day. You got some homework in. You got to get that exercise or movement in. You got to meditate. You got to kind of slow that brain down. You check in with yourself. So then, okay, morning, I felt like shit. You didn't know why, but at lunchtime, once you were able to self-reflect, you were able to meditate, get your homework out in, or whatever it may be, you start feeling better. It's If you listen to this podcast, I'm all about positive momentum. And once you get that positive momentum, things become a little bit clear. Then you do that at dinner, and you do that. I recommend doing that for a week or two before we even start coaching, because I need you to know how you're feeling about yourself. I'm not a therapist, not a counselor, but what I say, um, hey Chris, what I say here is, if you don't have the ability to be in tune with yourself, I can't do much, because what I'm going to offer you is perspective, and I'm never going to tell you what's right and what's wrong, because what's right and what's wrong for me isn't for everybody else. So understand, the self reflection and the meditation is 100% up here for you to be in tune with what's going on with you. By no sense of the matter am I a guru in meditation. I literally either sit in a chair, lay in a bed, all that. It's all just, letting your brain go. I mentioned the big thing is that dedicating time for yourself. And I say that clapping my hands together, because we live in a world that all we do is think of what's next, who's next, who are we going to need to talk to, what are we going to need to be doing. And by doing that, we just lose focus on what we've wanted to do for since we were kids, or what we wanted to do and the goals we set for this past year. My 2020 vision board looks nothing like I imagined it would, because of obviously what we're going through. But by dedicating time for myself each day, I'm able to adapt that, and I don't feel like I'm losing anything. I feel like, if anything, I'm gaining skills, problem solving skills. If you listen to Gary Vee, and I always quote Gary Vee, it's all about enjoying the process. If you enjoy the process of figuring out yourself, figuring out maybe problems that you're going through, when problems come, they don't feel catastrophic anymore. They start feeling manageable, because you've been sharpening this tool of problem solving for the past however many months, days, years it may be. And then all of a sudden you feel like you have those tools in your tool belt, like, oh, this is just another problem I have to be figuring out. And then hopefully, with either the help of podcasts, myself, my coaching, or YouTube, or anything like that, you are able to find out what works for you, and then you move forward. Guys, I promise it's not as bad as it feels. And I promise you, somebody else has been through it that can help you through it. All right, what else we got here? The emphasis was on routine for that 3 keys and staples for me to get through this. that routine is one thing I've learned about myself. And I encourage you to understand what has been working and what hasn't been working for you. I have found out that I am very reliant on routine and structure. I never thought that. I always thought I hated that growing up. But what now I understand is if I don't have routine and structure, my mind is doing all of that routine and structure for me, and it's not in a healthy way. It's creating bad habits. I made a post saying that I think I ate enough cookies to try to save the planet in that first week, and it was a direct correlation to how I felt. I felt like I ate enough cookies to try to save the planet. And what happened when I started getting onto my routine, getting into my schedule that, I took the time to dedicate for myself. This isn't a fitness podcast or anything. This is a lifestyle, mental health podcast. And I'll tell you one thing it helped me do. The schedule and routine got me working out every day. And once I started working out every day, my appetite started to change. I wasn't craving that sugar, that sweet. I still do, and I'll still indulge, but not as much. Understand that it's not this it's like that. It's not a rich quick scheme. This is a domino effect. What you do today is going to impact what you do this afternoon, tomorrow morning. By creating that routine and creating that schedule, you're going to start. What is happening upstairs? You're going to start creating a lifestyle that you are able to maintain. And then once you kind of create that baseline, I always talk about baseline. When you start getting to that baseline, then you're going to start building. All of a sudden, start thinking, maybe I can benefit from intermittent fasting. So now at 12 o'clock, I'm able to eat. And then at 8 o'clock, I try not to eat. This isn't life or death. I try to just stick to it because it's something I want to try. That's the power of schedule and routines. It's a building block. It's a domino effect. Nothing's going to happen overnight. This podcast didn't happen. I've been doing this podcast for like 8 months now, and I'm just finally having the courage to go live. I'm just having the courage to go on YouTube. Understand that everything is a building block, and the game is patience. I'm getting myself hyped up over here. What else we got? Oh, consistency. All right. Something I struggle with greatly, and I don't know if anybody else does, it's consistency. You get on a routine, you get into something you enjoy doing, you start, excuse me, you start to see the benefits of it. You start to see the payoffs. When you start working out, you start to feel good, or look better. But you start to get complacent at that point. Consistency is no longer there because you're like, oh, I can skip today. I feel good, I look good. Well, the only consistent thing that happens after that is you consistently start putting things off. You consistently start saying you're going to do it tomorrow. You consistently start eating cookies like you're trying to save the world. You consistently start doing things that have not gotten you to the point where you felt like you were good. So understand I love how this all ties together. I didn't plan it like this. By making the schedule, exercising, meditating, the consistency is just a byproduct of that. You have everything on a piece of paper. What are you going to do? I don't know if you can see it. I literally have to say wake up on my thing because I don't set an alarm. Luckily, my girlfriend wakes up for work and I just get up and then I go. But guys, this all ties in together. And if there's one thing I didn't realize of all of this, is how much it all just ties in together. Because once you start doing all this stuff, you start listening to yourself effortlessly. And what I mean by that is you don't have any judgments. You're just acting. So by listening to yourself effortlessly, you're starting to hear the signs and signals that you couldn't hear before. So all those things that felt like work, like getting up and working out, eating better, intermittent fasting, meditation, meetings, all this kind of stuff seemed like work. Well, once you start creating that baseline, it doesn't feel like work anymore. It starts to feel like progress. And then all of a sudden, it's that Bruce Lee quote I always come back to, be like water, my friend. Don't bash your head into this brick wall consistently because something's not working. That doesn't mean don't work hard. What I mean by that is if it feels good, follow it. Obviously, a lot of bad things feel good too, but if you're working towards self-improvement, self-care, and all that good stuff, and like I said, I am not in the shape I once was, and at first my ego wanted to jump in the way and be like, why even start? Like, you are a hopeless human at this point in time. You're lucky enough to be where you're at. Just go. What happened was I shut that voice off. I threw my ego out of a window and I said, I don't care how ugly it is. I don't care how hard I breathe, how many breaks I need to take. What I'm going to do is set 30 days. I'm going to do it for 30 days. And even better yet, I'm going to hold myself accountable by videotaping it. I know how bad it looks. I see my belly coming out of my shirt. But you know what that does? Every night at 9:30 when I jump in that shower, I sit there and I go, tomorrow I'm getting it. I'm just motivated now. I'm motivated more than ever because I videotape myself looking like an ass for everybody to see. Um, that is the stuff that has just been coming to me effortlessly because I said, I want to do something. What's the number one way I can do it? Help other people. That's my goal in this world, is to help other people. I don't care what I look like because I know there's somebody out there struggling with the same exact thing, maybe even probably much worse than what I'm going through. And if I can just be used as a building block or maybe that first little nudge to be like, I don't have to worry about what I look like. I don't have to worry if my form is perfect right now. That's going to come. Do you think all these professional, whether it be weightlifters, marathon runners, had excellent form when they first started? They didn't. They absolutely didn't. So by videotaping myself, I'm trying to help people. I'm helping myself, and I'm trying to get better at my form at all the time. At all times is what I'm trying to say. So guys, listen to yourself effortlessly and have no judgments. And I have written in big, just act. Just act on it. My grandmother has always said this, and like I said, she should have been the spokesperson for Nike because if I ever am mentioning something I'm thinking about doing, she'll just say over the phone or FaceTime, whatever it is, just do it. Like there's no whys, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's almost like why aren't you doing it? If that's what you want to do and that's the direction you want to head, like why aren't you doing it? So I think of that all the time. Just do it. Shut your mouth and just go. Push. Go for it. I always say this, and when I've been mentioning this episode is dedicating time for you. There's a bunch of different time you can dedicate for yourself, and obviously the schedule making, the exercise, and the meditation is huge. We're in a quarantine. Have some fun with it. Find a new hobby. Find a new skill, and go like be bad at stuff. Who cares? My big thing is dedicate time for new interests and hobbies. YouTube has become mine. I already play guitar. I play my Xbox enough. I do a podcast and stuff like that. So those are hobbies I've, picked up on. And what am I trying to do is I want to obviously start making more money. So I want to get on YouTube. I want people to subscribe so I can get ad revenue. I want to help people in the process. So YouTube has become my hobby, whether that be like the filmmaking and the editing, getting good with Final Cut Pro and all that stuff. That's just a byproduct of that. That's just stuff that's coming along because it's part of the process. And I love it because I love the process of being bad at shit. That's my thing. Is I think that's where the consistency comes in because I am only consistent when I'm bad at stuff. When I'm bad at something, I turn on my coaching hat and I coach myself through it. And I'm like, okay, if you want to be good at it, you have to practice this amount of time. You have to dedicate this. It's all a mindset. Don't be hard on yourself. And all of a sudden, I start getting good. I start getting better. And then once I get to a level of, I feel complacent, then I go, all right, cool. Well, with this, it's a little bit different because I don't say people rely on me, but I think of it as, people are relying on the world to help them through a tough time. And I want to be a helper. I want to be somebody you can reach out to. I'm proud as hell of my sister who's on the front lines as a nurse out in Colorado. And we've always talked about this as we're both just kind-hearted people and we want to help people. Well, while she's front lines doing that, I want to do as much as I can for people. So this is my way of doing it. So I hope, I can provide that. And like I said, that hope of jumping in during a pandemic to be a helper is something that I hope I can do more of through this time. So if you guys need any help or anything like that, just let me know and I'm going to do anything in my power to possibly help you. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I must have written this down before I started. This is going to sound really stupid, but I think the best way to become a good life coach or a good mentor or anything like that is you have to be able to practice what you preach. And I have mentioned in the past that I feel like I'm a wonderful coach, but a mediocre player. The only solution to that for me would be coach yourself. And I created this rule for myself here. I created um, that I'm going to coach myself and I'm going to listen to myself no matter what. I'm going to take my word as gospel and say, if you want to be better, this is how you're going to do it. You have to act. Just because it's me doesn't mean I can push it off, doesn't mean I can say something different. Um, oh my goodness. I didn't see the comments come in. Um, but that's how I think about it, man. I think if I can coach myself, I can coach anybody because you can ask my beautiful girlfriend anytime. I am not an easy person to understand or get. So it's taken me 32 years to kind of understand what I think my brain wants to do and accomplish. So what I've been doing has been coaching myself and I have been listening to myself. And I'll tell you what, I am now 9 days in, 9 days straight of that home workout, and I feel so much better. I'm 9 days straight of making a schedule. I feel so much better. My eating habits have just been kind of a bonus because I don't have as much as an appetite if I'm just sitting on a couch wondering when my next meal is going to be. I've also been like taking part in, I also said, like I said, dedicate time to hobbies and interests. One of my biggest one is um, I like to mess around on Photoshop, letting your mind go, listening to some music, smoking a little bit, whatever you do. If you smoke, you drink, whatever you do. I love letting my mind go into these, imagination worlds that I can kind of create myself, and it's an outlet. So, guys, if you can't coach yourself, one, I'm here to help. I'm here to coach you. I'm here to help you learn how to coach yourself. I have this weird motto, and I don't know if it's good for business or bad for business, but over an extended period of time, you will not need me if I do my job. You will not need me for X amount of time if I do my job correctly. And that's what I hope for. I hope you get to the point where you no longer need to set up 2 calls a month with me. I hope it gets to the point maybe we do a quarterly call just to check in to see progress. That's what I am about. I am not here to take people's money on a consistent basis. I'm here to help people. I'm here to help people grow. It's not about this get rich quick scheme that I see a lot of people trying to do. I am hoping that by coaching myself and listening to myself and seeing the progress, that I am able to add that perspective to other people's lives and they are able to progress and continue forward and create their own coaching style for themselves and hopefully help other people. And this becomes that domino effect I keep talking about. But that's where we're at. That is all I have at the moment. So hopefully when I upload this on Spotify, this is where I will cut off. This is, hey, Ben, this is where you're going to stop. So until then, I'm going to read through the comments here. Steve, man, you are a rock star. Thank you so much for all the positive stuff. Great to see you. That's how I feel right now. My side business keeps me busy. I've already pressurized. I've already got there. Proud of you, dude. Hell yeah. Fall in love with the journey. One of the best pieces of advice I've ever heard. You know what's funny, Steve? You're one of the first people that kind of drilled that into my mind. Me and Steve used to work together at a place, a pharmaceutical company back in Pennsylvania. I don't know if I can say it out. I'm sure I can, but I'm just not going to do it. But he was the person that taught me dedication to the gym, surprisingly enough, because like I grew up playing sports and stuff like that, but I've never seen like this look of determination and drive. And I've really wanted to be better than Steve. Steve is built like a shit brick house. I always say this, built like a, he's just a strong man. We'll just say he's a strong man. And I was watching this man just put up weight effortlessly. And I was like, and that's what I talk about. If I'm not good at something or if I'm not meeting that bar of expectations I put myself at, I'm going to work like hell to get there. And Steve was that person that taught me it's not about the end product. It's about all those little things you do to get to that spot. So Steve has been a huge influence in my life. And I'm so stoked to call him one of my good friends. And I'd even call you a mentor, man. You played a huge part in my development here. that's what I got going on. We got a half hour here. I think it's a solid podcast. Um, if you haven't, go check out my YouTube channel. I'm going to post it somewhere down here. And what we're going to do is hopefully subscribe, like the channel, share the channel if it helps you. If you get a good laugh out of it, just, help a brother out. I'm trying to help some people. I obviously don't expect other people to, share, like, and all that kind of stuff, but it is always appreciated because I have goals and a journey that I want to see fulfilled. So I just ask for a little bit of help too. So guys, if you've tuned in live, thank you so much. Thanks. I really appreciate it. Keep tuning in. I love you, Steve. Thank you, man. If you've tuned in live, I thank you for taking time out of your day to not only help me, because going live helps me, but also help yourself, because hopefully I was able to add some perspective, a little bit of respectfully selfish perspective for you. So that's it. If not, I'll catch you on the next one. I'll catch you when I catch you, as I like to say. So guys, thanks for stopping by. I love every and last one of you that support me, stop by, help you, help me, help you, help me, help you. But guys, until next time, peace. All right, here we go. We're going to try to end this live. Yes, please.